Hey everyone, welcome to Esports Unzipped, your hub for all things esports. My name's Karen Blunton, and this week I had the amazing opportunity to interview Michael Fay, the director of the esports program here at the University of Akron. So without further ado, let's get to the interview. I am here with Michael Fay. Hey Michael.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how about you?
Good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So for esports, are there any repercussions similar to like physical sports? For example, like football players do face concussions when they slam into each other. Are there any similar things going on in the esports world?
So there are some pretty minor considerations that they pop up a lot in the professional esports scene just because of how much time the players are spending playing their game. Every now and then you'll have a player who has a wrist injury, something like carpal tunnel or something like that. Other than that, I would say the major concern is actually something that should be a concern for most of society, which is just increased sedentary activity, right? Yeah. The average American worker is spending tons of time just sitting in place, either at their desk or something like that, or traveling, driving. And in the same way, a lot of the players do spend a lot of time sitting and not being active while they practice. And that's one of the reasons why we require all the varsity players for our esports teams to be engaging in a fitness regimen where they're doing strength and conditioning training as well as yoga, things to improve their posture and things like that.
Yes. It's very important that our players are in top condition just to make sure that they're healthy and happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Healthy, happy, and then also, the more physically fit you are, the more mentally alert you're going to be. It's going to be a lot easier for you to regulate your mood and your composure during those high intensity, face-offs.
Yeah, so it definitely goes against all the stigmas that are on people that play games, that they're usually just unhealthy, just sit there and do nothing all day.
Yeah, it's a stereotype that exists for a reason, and there definitely is an avenue to go down that path if you are just looking for a distraction, that you can be lazy and just kind of relax. Some people use video games for that reason. Competitive gamers don't tend to do that. Honestly, the reason why they're playing is because they want to be the best at what they're doing. And so, if you're interested in being the best, you got to make sure that you're staying active, staying healthy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What's your favorite esport game to just watch?
I would say that I definitely enjoy watching League of Legends. My next favorite esport to watch would probably be CSGO. I think it's really positioned well as a video game to be an esport because of the fact that it requires a lot of mechanical skills. So it's really enjoyable to see those star players come out with these crazy clutch plays, under the heat of the moment. At the same time, the pacing is really good. So every round's 2 minutes, but each of those rounds only has a few seconds of action. Yeah. So there's a good down period for the casters to do an expose on what's happening, setting up the narrative of the play and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch players between rounds buy their guns and then just throw them up in the air for others to catch, and they just keep doing that back and forth for the time that they've got.
Yeah, it's pretty silly because of how alien that looks in comparison to how realistic everything else about CSGO looks. Yeah.
So with all the games that are coming out, all of the competitive ladders that are being released for each game, are there any of them that are coming up that you can see becoming an esport in the near future?
So obviously right now everyone's eyes are on Fortnite. It's one of the most popular games of all time. One of the reasons for that just being that it is so accessible because it's free to play and it's across a variety of platforms. So there's just a wider player base than there is for most other games.
So with On Campus, we're playing in the varsity leagues, Counter-Strike, Hearthstone, Overwatch, League of Legends, Rocket League. Which one do you think is going to be the most popular one to watch on campus?
That's a good question. So there are a couple of factors that I think go into it. One is just the popularity of the games themselves. The most popular game, when we took a look at everybody who submitted a form on our website, we actually found that CSGO was one of the most popular titles. It's one of the reasons why we added it as a varsity esport. It was not included in the original list. But there's actually more students who mentioned it in their form than League of Legends or Overwatch, although it was very close.
Yeah.
So I think then after that, since with League, Overwatch, and CSGO being so close, it really is going to depend on who picks up, the most titles, who's got the best plays, that starts driving some hype with the student body. Our League of Legends team and our Overwatch team are going to be in their first LAN tournament next week at Harrisburg in Pennsylvania in the Harrisburg University Esports and Music Festival. And so we'll get to see them out there on the battlefield very soon and see how it goes.
Do you have any advice for players that want to go to college and become an esports star?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are three main criteria that as a coach I'm always considering whenever I'm looking at an applicant pool for any particular game. The first one is obviously your competitive skill at the game. For the most part, that will start with a look at your rank in the leaderboards for the competitive ladder for whatever that game is. And then, of course, we'll see if you can actually replicate the skill that rank would indicate in an actual tryout session. But that would definitely be the number one. So after competitive skill, competitive experience is really important. It's very different to be, at home in your room and you're playing a competitive game with a bunch of strangers as your teammates. And if they make you mad or they make you lose, then you don't have to play with them the next game. And you can be a very highly ranked player by playing that way. But it's a big difference from that to being on a fixed competitive team where if you feel like your teammate let you down, you have to play the next game with them and the next game. So we're definitely looking at people who have previous competitive experience, so we know that they can do that. And then finally, academic record is really important. If you're a highly ranked player but you failed almost in all of your classes, then that's an indication that when I put the pressure on you to perform in the game, it's likely going to disrupt your time management of all of your other responsibilities. So we're really looking for somebody who has demonstrated they're able to maintain that balance.
I'd like to thank Michael again for giving me the opportunity to sit down and talk with him. It was an amazing time, and I hope to be able to do it again with him soon. Well, that's all the time I have for today. Have any questions or comments? Well, you can tweet me at ZTV Goofing Off and be sure to use the hashtag Esports Unzipped. Also, I've got a show on 88.1 WZIP every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So if this isn't enough esports for you, be sure to check it out then. And as always, I'm Karen Blenton, and I'll see you guys next time.